I think about these things after a couple of days. If you look at it, you know, and actually I had a buddy over here today too and give me some good ideas. The more you think about these things, you can make it easier on yourself. So I was going to order the bearing caps from Harley that sit in the ends here, which would raise it up another 3/4 of an inch probably on either end. And that would, I'd have to cut an inch off this tube somewhere, and that would make this all complicated. I'd have to lower one of these down. But I'm going to try this. It's a simple fix. This is the original Norton bearings that were in here. And the only reason why they don't fit over this shaft is because these are 25 millimeters. Pretty sure I measured that to be 25 and 52. So where are we there? Yeah, 25 exactly. And you can see down below on the 1 inch scale, it's just about 1 inch. And 1 inch when I measure this bearing is what's it say on the top scale here? Just a little over 25. But I'm looking at the thousandths down here. It's 9.5 thou. Between 9 and 10 thou difference. So what I'm going to try, I'm going to take this to the machine shop, Pete's machine shop there, and have this, bore this out a little bit bigger. Be only like 4.5 thou on either side to make it 1 inch. So that's hardly nothing off of here, you know, that's hardly anything off that bearing. That won't affect anything. You know, there's I think this is 3 thou. Yeah, that's 3 thou. You know, it's nothing. Where's 4 thou? That feels like 3. Yeah, it's 4 thou is nothing. You know, there's 9 thou, and you can see 9 thou is hardly nothing. Well, I only need to take off like 4.5 thou. And then I can reuse these, put them back into the frame, and everything's fixed here, so I can't change it. You know, once those are pressed in, I don't have to modify the frame at all there. But this is, maybe I should do metric for the British guys there. What's that? 16, a little over 16 centimeters, or 6 3/8 of an inch. And those bearings, they're 1/2 inch bearings. Actually, I never did verify that, but I'm sure they are. Yeah, 1/2 inch bearings. So think that's 6 3/8. Well, I got, if I put a 1/2 inch bearing there and a 1/2 inch bearing at the top, gets me down to, see, I'm at 7 1/4. It gets me down to 6 1/4. Just wait. If I measure the bearing from top to bottom, yeah, so let's say I just measure from the top to bottom here, it's 7 1/4 inches. If I could machine these things down another 1/2 inch, you know, then this plate would suck right down, but that's okay. I just need a 1/2 inch spacer. And that's where this old bearing can come in. I'm going to look for a 1/2 inch spacer. Maybe they can make me one, but I can just bang off these ball bearings here, and then I got a 1/2 inch spacer right there, hardened steel. So I press this on first, the spacer, then my bearing, because I've got like 1.5 inches here to work with. I only have a 1/2 inch to work with there, so there's not much I can do about that lower bearing. But here, I could put a spacer, I could put a 3/4 inch spacer, I could put a 1 inch spacer in there. So I'll put a 1/2 inch spacer in there. And I'm actually going to put a shim down here. It comes with this chrome shim, but I need a little bit thicker than that, just so that this bearing the ball bearing sits a little bit recessed in here, so I almost need a spacer on top of it so that the swing arm swings below it. Probably an 1/8 inch spacer. So I'll put an 1/8 inch spacer in here and then put the bearing on. That's the easiest way, quickest, simplest, easiest way to put that front end on. Just machine these out, machine these 2 bearings out tomorrow, and I could have that front end on. I'd really like to machine that in a little bit farther, just so I had a little bit more bearing surface here for that bearing. The transition's right here, because I want to shim that out about 1/8 of an inch. And, well, just a second here. Yeah, I'd really like that to go in a little more, maybe even flush. There's about 1/8 of an inch there sticking out. And, you know, I could machine an 1/8 inch off the inside of this here so it goes in farther. That way I'd have more bearing surface out here. But it would just leave a thin little line left on here. And, you know, this shaft could pull right straight through. So I don't want to weaken that. I don't want to cut that down at all. The best thing would be is to recess. You can see the line in there. If I could recess that line in, you know, 1/8 of an inch into there. You know, I'd need to bring it into a machine shop and some kind of a press. And I don't know how they'd even do it. You know, it can't be a tapered drill bit. It has to be a flush cut drill bit. I don't even know how they would even do that. It's just such an awkward piece to work with. But that would make my bearing surface come out 1/8 of an inch farther. So I could put an 1/8 of an inch shim in there. Because I know this bearing sits up in there about 1/8 of an inch. Unless I put a shim behind this, I could put a shim in behind that. That way it would just be flush with the bottom here. That might be the easiest thing to do, safest thing to do. Yeah, there you go, another idea. That's what I'm gonna do. Put the shim in there. Get a shim like this, and that'll pull that bearing down a little bit farther. And so it won't be riding on the frame here, because that's what it would do right now. If I put this together, that Norton frame would be riding right into here. The steering neck would be cutting right into this. I need to shim it out. So that's the trick. Put a little shim in front of this, like a big washer. 1/8 inch. You know, something like that. And then put the bearing in. Make one, find one. Okay, that's where I'm at today. I had that piece on upside down before because this piece has got the recess in it, and so does this piece, so it fits into this top holder. But there's my spacer. It's all stainless steel, 1 inch hole, so that'll sit there. That'll allow for the 1/2 inch bearing here, another 1/2 inch bearing there. And that should work just about right. This is adjustable, so I can crank it up a little more. That's as far down as it goes right now. I just wanted to see how far down it would go. And yeah, that should work. So what I want to do though is I want to hone these out a little bit more. Where's the two? This is kind of worn out, but this is what I was using. I think that's the one. I don't know, I got that from Peter's house, but maybe that's not the right one. And because the other one fit in there really tight. Yeah, I think I grabbed the wrong one. It squeezes right in there. So I want to hone these out a little bit more so they slide on like just so I can just tap them on lightly, so that way I can get it off and on a couple times. I don't want to have them pressed on there and have to beat the hell out of them to get them off and on, because I'm going to probably have this off a couple times. So I'm going to hone them out a little bit more so they slide on, just so they're snug. And I'll probably end up going with a tapered roller bearing in the end. But this is going to be good for a mock-up. Okay, so we hone these out a little bit more and I can put that assembly on there. Okay, this is dragging on. I wanted to do this like 4 or 5 days ago. But I'm kind of renovating my basement, insulating it all before winter here. We got some nice weather. And anyways, this is how this is going to go. This, with these roller bearings, all the weight has to be on the inner race in here, and I have to make it all as one when it's, that's why there's a spacer in it. If you didn't have a spacer in it and you tighten down the pinch bolt, then you're pushing on the inner race, trying to push it out of the outer race, right? You're gonna be damaging those bearings. So you got to have it spaced properly, so that all the weight from the Springer front end should be sitting on the inner race, direct energy on this one, and then stop at the bottom, so the whole inner part turns as one piece. So I've just been calculating it out there, because this hole here, the bearing sits in way too far. I would need like a little stub sticking up off of the stem there on the Springer, so it doesn't rub on the frame here. So I've just been calculating it, and I got the bearing. Where did I put it? Here, here, here. I got this 1/8 inch washer, and then I got I think it's a 25 thou shim. Because if I put the bearing right on the spacer, all the weight's on the outside as well as the inside, you know, and it's going to rub when it's turning. So you got to have a shim in there that's not going to touch the outer race. So now the inner will turn freely with the bearing. The bearing will turn, or before it's going to rub, right? You can hear the difference. And it's centered, and the bearing turns. So I had to measure this distance, which is 757. My depth is 765. So even still, if I put this into here and I put my stem into there, I'm still short. What am I short? 8 thou. I'm still short 8 thou. It'll still be 8 thou inside of this thing here, so I'm going to put another 25 thou shim in there, and now it'll be down I don't know, what's that word, 17 thou below that. So now my stem won't hit it. So that's how that's going to go together for the bottom section. Okay, so I'm going to try to press this in here. Like I said, I'm probably going to change this to a tapered roller bearing, but for a mock-up, I want to get it all in there to see where I have to cut the frame to rake it. So this is going to go like this. That shim's going to be in there, and I could put the bearing on here. And then somehow I got to bang the whole thing into the frame, or I put the bearing up in there and then tap this into the frame. That might be easier. So that would mean put this like this up into the frame here first. Can use my spacer here as a drift. since the frame's apart, may as well flip it upside down. Got the big 1/8" spacer, my shim, put that in there like that. Put it down here. Make sure my shim's lined up. Which it's not. It's not lined up because this thing doesn't turn, so it slid over a little bit. I'll just leave it like that. It's loose now. Okay. And then I can tap it in once I got the rest of it in here. And then, you know, it's almost flush with the bottom, so I got like a, I'm pretty sure this is a 25 thou here. Maybe even more. Approximately 25. This is where I wish I had that reamed out a little bit more. Okay, let's get this over here. I don't know if there's any easy way how to do this. Flip it upside down again, I guess. Sure like to press that in there. I could fit that in my press. Yeah, let me screw around with that. I got a hardwood block here. That's not sticking out the bottom, no. It's way too tight. I need to remote that bearing a little bit more. It's too tight. Okay, reamed that bearing out a little bit. Got the spacer, the shim on there. Just fucking things off. This thing's heavy, this front end. Shimming away. There we go. Get like that. Now I gotta figure out the top one. It's gonna sit like that. I can't remember if I had to shim the top one or not. I think so. .6. Decimal 6. 8. Not even quite, maybe. Gotta use my glasses and a magnifying glass. Decimal 6. 6. Decimal 6. And the bearing is, get my magnifying glasses down here. Decimal 6, and this is decimal 5. 75 plus. 15. 14, 15. My pen and paper. Check this in a couple spots. Wow, it's different. It's different in every place I check it. Oh my God, so it's not in there straight. Decimal 6, approximately 5 thou either way. So I need to shim that up. So I need 20 thou minimum. I've got lots of bearing race up here, like 1.5 inches. For that bearing to go on, I got like 1.5 inches room. Remember to stick this in there. Fuck. I want to see where that sits compared to that surface there. It looks pretty flush with it. think we're good there. I think I'm going to put the bearing in, and then I may have to put a shim on top of it. Stay like that. Bottom out. I need a shim. I need a shim between that and this, otherwise this is sitting on the outer race. It won't spin. I got some Norton shims. What we're using. Pull it up about 1/4 of an inch. Eighth of an inch, maybe. Pretty close. first issue. This cross piece is hitting the frame here, so I need this to be shimmed down farther or something. Nothing's easy. Nothing touching at the front. It's hitting the frame right here. That's the issue. This cross piece right here is hitting the two down tubes and binding it. I've hammered it down now 1/8 of an inch. That would be the only movement I would have right now. Now I could machine that off, grind that off there, and that would give me a little bit more movement. But I think these down tubes are going to be an issue. But this gives me a good idea for spacing. That's why you got to kind of mock these things up and try it out, because now this spacer's too big. I've only got that pushed down 1/8 of an inch. That's about flush there. So see how this is going to fit for starters. So I could go down another 1/8 of an inch with this when I fix this down here. So, and I'm almost I'm 3/16 out here. So this spacer is going to be too big. I need to cut it in half. Where's my caliper? reverse this here. See, this can only go down so far. It's a different size than that. So I can go like that, and then ½ inch there, ½ inch spacer, and then plus the difference at the bottom there, which isn't very much, 2 millimeters. So 0.6 of an inch. Yeah, I need to put this down to 0.6. Okay. I can still try to figure out where the frame's got to be cut. I need a big block of wood, which I should have somewhere. Okay, where's my other hand? Get in there. Oh, I got that, I got the wheel the wrong way. That space needs to go into there. Yeah. Okay, I gotta reverse this. tell you right now, there's these, this wheel isn't going to work with this frame, where the spacers aren't right. There's something not right here. But let's put it together. Okay. The tire's centered, but this spacer isn't right. Find an Allen wrench. Just want to get this brake started here, just so I can get all the spacing right. You know, in those TV shows, they build those bikes. You know, they got a lathe sitting right there. They cut their own spacers. They measure it all. They can fuck up 3 or 4 times and still make a new one. Anyways, I don't have any of that. I need a lathe. I've been kind of looking for about a year. But you can see here, this spacer here should be all the way out to there. The wheel is centered. It's dead center, so that's good. It's spaced right on this side. Just need a bigger spacer in here, and that could easily be machined. Okay, so now this is about the right. This is about the right about the rake that I want right there. That's about the right side, but you can see the frame goes down, so that's how much I gotta cut it and bend the frame up. Probably gonna have to put the swing arm back in. I just checked my bench. It's dead level, and so then I stick my level on here, vertical, on, and we'll set this for 30. I'll set it for 34. I don't want to go past 34. 34 degrees there. No, that's not. So what's the opposite of 34? So that's 34 here. So let's see, 34 is 60, 56. 56. So that's out a little farther. Probably at, I'm probably at 40 degrees. Which doesn't look too bad. A little bit too far. That's 40 degrees. I like to get it to 34. Is 54. It makes a 90. I mean 56. $56 degrees and 34 degrees is 90. There we go, that's pretty close. That's probably still 35, 36 degrees, that angle there. I'll bolt the swing arm back on in the next video. And I'll put a 18-inch rear. I've got a rim for that rear wheel in Port Huron, and I'm not going to be getting that for a while because the bridge is closed. Find an old tire. I'll go to the motorcycle shop and just grab an old tire to put on here for now. This is 18-inch. I'm going to put an 18-inch in the rear for now, and that's a 19 on the front. I'm looking for a matching tire. There's one on eBay, but it's going to be $200 Canadian to have it shipped and taxes and everything else on it. So I'm looking for one of them. I believe that's off like a shovelhead Sportster, that front wheel. But I'll bolt this all back on, and then I can play with the height with an 18-inch or 19-inch tire on there, and see how that works. And then I can kind of screw around with the frame, get the frame angle. I just got to find the other cap for here. This is the isoelastic in here. And bolt this back up, put this back in the frame, and then I could bolt the wheel in. And then the original shocks are, I think they're 11. Where's my tape? There's a lot of variables when doing this. A lot of variables. Are they 12s? Center to center, 12. Yeah, they're 12-inch shocks. And I know that where there's a brand new set of 11-inch shocks, progressive, that are really nice, all black. So yeah, I want to figure out the frame, get the frame laid out, get it to the right height, 18-inch or 19-inch back wheel. I guess if I go with a 18-inch back wheel, I'll go with a 12-inch shock. If I go with a 19-inch back wheel to match that one, I can go with 11-inch shock, and that way it'll keep me in. It'll keep the frame the same if I change my mind. Yeah, that's it for today. That's all I can do. Just crack the beer, Miller time. This headlight came with it too. Not sure where the hell that's supposed to go, but looks kind of cool down here. Part way down. I like that. That looks good. And I'll probably put like almost like a straight bar on this thing. Like a straight bar coming out here. Maybe a little bit of a pull to it. But I got to get my tank from the States before I can do too much more. I want to get this frame cut, get this all mocked up, and then strip it down. Then I could put the tapered roller bearings in there and finish that up right. But I'm going to have an issue here. This is where it's hitting right here. It's pinching right here. There's your stoppers right here, right? These are the stoppers on either side. Hits the frame, can only turn so far. Huh. But I could cut that and lower that down 1/4 of an inch, and that would probably give me and add it down here, give me 1/4 of an inch down here. See, they've got it beveled here. I could bevel it right straight across, and that'll give me quite a bit more clearance, rather than screw around with cutting these tubes. Lots of options. Okay, that's it.